People still talk about the night that John Henry was born. It was dark and cloudy. Then lightning lit up the night sky. John Henry's birth was a big event. His parents showed him to everyone they met. Look at John. Look at John. John Henry was the most powerful looking baby that people had ever seen. He had thick arms, wide shoulders, and big muscles. John Henry started growing when he was 1 day old, and he kept growing until he became the strongest man that ever lived. See, John Henry grew up in a world that didn't let children stay children for long. So before he was 6 years old, he was carrying stones for men building a nearby railroad. By the age of 10, he was working from early in the morning to late at night. Often, he would stop and listen for the sound of a train far away. So when he first saw that railroad with its tracks made of steel, when he first heard that engine with its mighty wheel, he told his family, "I'm gonna be a steel driver someday." See, steel drivers were men who helped to create pathways for railroads. They had the job of cutting holes in rocks. To do this, they used thick steel spikes. By the time he was a young man, John Henry was one of the best steel drivers in the whole country. He could work for hours without missing a beat. John Henry gon' slang that hammer so West Virginia on down through Atlanta, see, building railroads through Alabama, see. Woo. John Henry was almost 7 feet tall. He weighed more than 250 pounds. He had a beautiful, deep voice, and he played an instrument called a banjo. John Henry was married to a woman named Polly Ann, another steel driver, and they had a son. John Henry went to work as a steel driver for the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad, or C&O. The company's owners asked him to lead a project to extend the railroad into the Allegheny Mountains. Now, the workers made good progress on the project until they started working near Big Bend Mountain in West Virginia. The company's owners said the mountain was too big to build a railroad around it. So the workers were told they had to force their hammers through the mountain. This meant creating a tunnel more than a mile long. The project lasted for 3 years, and it required 2,000 workers. The pay, the pay was low, and the work was hard. The men had to breathe in thick black smoke and dust. Hundreds of men got sick and many died. John Henry was the strongest and the fastest man on the project. His hammer weighed almost 20 pounds, and some people said that he could cut a path of feet a day. John Henry gon' slang that hammer so West Virginia on down through Atlanta, say, building railroads through Alabama, say, woo, woo. That July was the hottest summer ever in West Virginia. Many of the men grew tired and weak because of the heat. John Henry feared his friends might lose their jobs. So he picked up their hammers and started doing their work. One week, he did his own work, plus that of several other steel drivers. He worked day and night, rarely stopping to eat. John Henry gon' slang that hammer so West Virginia on down through Atlanta, say, building railroads through Alabama, say, woo. The men thanked John Henry for his help. He just smiled and said, a man ain't nothing but a man. But a man has always gotta just do his best. The heat continued for weeks. And one day, a salesman stopped by Big Bend Mountain with a new drilling machine powered by steam. He said, my machine can drive steel faster than 12 men working together. Well, the supervisor of the workers didn't believe the salesman. He said, excuse me, I've got the best steel driver. I got the best steel driver in the whole country. All right, his name is John Henry. And he can beat 20 men working together. The salesman didn't believe the supervisor. He said, John Henry, huh? John Henry? I'll tell you what, I'll give you all the machine for free if old John Henry is faster. So the supervisor called for John Henry. He said, John! Woo! John Henry! This man don't believe that you can drive still faster than his old machine. John, how about a race? John Henry looked at that machine and he saw pictures from the future. He saw machines replacing America's best workers. He saw himself and his friends without jobs and standing on the side of the road begging for food. He saw men losing their families and their rights as human beings. John Henry turned to his supervisor and he said, I'll never let a machine take my job. John Henry's friends all cheered. But his wife, Polly Ann, wasn't happy. She said, John Henry, racing that machine will be the death of you. You got a wife and a son, and if anything happens to you, we will never smile again. John Henry lifted his son in the air. He turned to his wife, Polly Ann, and said, a man ain't nothing but a man. a man has always got to just do his best. Tomorrow, I'll take my hammer and drive steel faster than any machine. On the day of the big event, many people came to Big Bend Mountain to watch. Even early in the day, that the sun was burning hot. John Henry and the salesman stood side by side. The competition began. John Henry kissed his hammer and started working. At first, the steam-powered drill was working 2 times faster than he was. So then he started working with a hammer in each hand. John Henry gonna sling that hammer so high, West Virginia on down through Atlanta, said, building railroads through Alabama, said, he worked faster and faster. Inside the mountain, the heat and dust grew so thick that many men would have had trouble breathing. But not John Henry. He worked faster and faster. The salesman became afraid when he heard what sounded like the mountain breaking. But it was just the sound of old John Henry at work. John Henry gonna sling that hammer so West Virginia on down through Atlanta, say, building railroads through Alabama, say, Polly Ann and her son cheered as a machine was pulled from the tunnel. It had broken down. Polly Ann cried out, come on, John Henry, come out, John Henry, John, come on out. But John kept working faster and faster. He dug deep into the darkness, hitting the steel so hard that he became weak. And his body began to fail him. There was a terrible silence. Seconds later, John Henry appeared from the tunnel with his face covered in smoke. He fell to the ground with his hammers still in his hand. I beat them, he said. I beat that old machine. Polly Ann cried out, don't go, John Henry. No, John Henry, don't go. Please don't go, John. Legend has it that John Henry died that day. But that just ain't true. John lived a long time afterwards on the farm that he earned for his son. In fact, he outlived that old machine. Soon, the steam-powered drill and other machines replaced the steel drivers. Many men had to leave their families to find work. They took the only jobs they could find. And while they worked, many sang songs about John Henry. This is the true tall tale about John Henry. How do I know? I was there that day. Yeah, at John Henry. He's my daddy. And before he died, he passed them big old hammers down to me. The